Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another delightful Daily December. This is Daily December 2015, day number 2. First things first, you guys may have noticed, I have much less hair, and I'm very, very happy about it. I was not enjoying my hair being that long, and I much prefer it around this length, so I look prettiful now, and it's very, very nice. I am in a wonderfully foul mood right now. The last. Really? I have autofocus on? Shut up, autofocus. I've turned you off before. See? Don't need autofocus. All it does is get me out of focus. I've never quite understood how all the cameras I have with autofocus, the only thing that it does is get me out of focus. Whatever. So I'm in an absolutely foul mood right now. Um, I've been trying to figure out exactly how I want to do this, how much tact in class I want to use, or if I just want to be a complete dick about it and blab all the gory details and everything. And I think I've decided to kind of take a hybrid between those two. I'm not going to go into all the gory details, but I am going to give you guys specifics, which is generally something I don't do. Um, just because from a professional standpoint, if you are terminated from a position, it's generally not a good idea to, even if you are wrongfully terminated, it's generally not a good idea to talk about it unless you are taking them to court over it. Simply because all it does is tell your future employers that if for whatever reason they're forced to fire you, which happens on a regular basis for a lot of legitimate reasons. Like a lot of people get fired not because they're bad employees or anything like that, but because they made a simple mistake, and unfortunately, it was a big enough mistake that someone had to pay the price for it. I have seen people that the conversation has been, hey, I'm really sorry, but I have to fire you over this. I don't want to fire you. However, what you did was a very, very big mistake. And because of that, somebody has to pay the price. And unfortunately, because you were the person that did it, it has to be you. I'm very, very sorry. But your employment is terminated. So, a lot of employers, if you kind of badmouth your former employer, simply won't hire you because you will not be working for them forever. You will eventually quit, whether it's retiring or that, and they don't want the they don't want to run the fear that you are going to badmouth them the same way that you badmouthed your previous employer. So again, I generally don't do this. But again, I'm in a foul mood. This is a volunteer organization that fired me. Uh, and I personally think this is something that you guys should know about because it's a group that I've worked for. I guess stop beating around the bush. Last night around 2 in the morning, I got fired from being a local coordinator for the D&D Adventure League. Um, I'm not going to go into specifics about why it was that I got fired, but I am going to tell you that I was fired due to the fact that my direct superior, who will remain nameless, uh, didn't like me and was phenomenally horrible at his job. Um, Throughout my entire career there, I regularly mention that, by the way, I have significant experience in management. I'm currently earning a degree in business management and marketing. I'm getting stellar scores, some of the highest scores, at least in my management classes. I'm getting the highest scores that some of my professors have ever seen. I'm very, very good at this, and you are making some very, very big mistakes that are costing a lot of people their positions in this particular group, and we can't have that. You know, we're massively understaffed because everybody either quits or gets fired, and we can't have that. And he didn't take that very well. And again, I've been doing this for since I started. Since I started noticing how poorly uh, he specifically did his job, and a lot of his colleagues made the same mistakes that he did, which are very obvious entry-level management mistakes. Every manager makes them when they first get into a leadership position. And I told him this, and he refused to admit that there were any mistakes. He ignored the fact that he was operating like a 200 or 300% turnover rate, which is insane. Um, and yeah, so long story short, I got fired because my boss can't do his job and I could. End of story. I realize it sounds insanely arrogant to say that, um, but after working in management successfully for 4 years and then going back to finish a degree for the past year and a half, I guess it'll be 2 years in May. Um, and I won quite a few acknowledgments and awards when I was in management. I turned around 3 different stores. Um, like I, as arrogant as it sounds, I have a right to claim that I know what I'm doing when it relates to management because I do, and I've worked incredibly hard to get to that point. Um, so yes, with the amount of experience and the amount of work that I've done, I personally consider myself an expert in general management. I used to train managers, and therefore I feel completely justified in saying that my assessment of the situation is their issue is 100% a management problem and it needs to be fixed. Again, they didn't like that, or not they, specifically my boss, former boss. And after screaming at me for a little bit and calling me names and belittling me, he fired me. The funny part was when I was being kind of a dick to him and like I quoted marketing, like the marketing stuff that I've been learning for the past year and a half, I sat there and I said, this is your target market. This is what you're doing here, because one of the things we were arguing about was just stupid things that he was trying to make me do. And so I quoted marketing at him, which is very, very dry, and I was very, very succinct and logical, which when you read it and it's directed at you sounds insulting. Because I was very, very specific with it, as if I was trying to teach someone with literally zero experience in the field. And if you work in the field at all and somebody talks to you like that, it seems insulting. It does. He reacted better when I was being a dick and saying, you don't know what you're doing, than when I started going, but hey, don't blame yourself. I know you're in a tough spot. I know how difficult it is to be in a leadership position. I know how difficult it is to make change and things like that. Like this is very, very difficult. Uh, that's why managers are not an entry level position. It's a very hard job, and leadership in general is not something that everybody in the world can do just naturally. With the right training, I think anyone can do anything they want to a point. There are just certain things that you are never going to master because you don't have the ability to do them perfectly. And that's just how it works. But if you want to do something passably, I think you can literally do anything within reason with the right trainer. And yeah, so I got yelled at. I've gotten sweared at before. It was a textbook case of a hostile work environment. And now I'm fired, which makes me feel lovely, and I'm unbelievably upset about it. Not so much that I'm no longer a local coordinator, because I'd been considering quitting anyways, because the stress and just dealing with him was getting to me, and with the therapy and everything, I need to take care of me before I take care of other people. Um, but it's the fact that uh, now that I'm not there, he's going to take out his frustration on other people because he's a bully. That's why he's been doing it. And I don't like bullies. I don't. I never have. I always stand up to them whenever I can. And in this particular instance, now I can't. I can't stand up to him anymore, and I can't stop him from hurting other people. And I don't like that. I really don't like being put in that position where I just have to sit back and I can't even watch. Like, they blocked me from all the pages and stuff like that. Or rather, they blocked me from the AL specific ones. I quit the more general Adventure League pages just because I didn't want to deal with it anymore. But yeah, so that's what happened. This is probably a phenomenally bad idea, to be blunt. Like I said, speaking about former employers, even though it was a volunteer position, they never paid me, and I will never list it on my resume, so I don't have to worry about people checking up on it or even it coming up in interview questions. This is a remarkably bad idea to speak out against any sort of organization. Um, However, like I said, Wizards of the Coast is phenomenal. They really are. They work very, very hard. Chris Perkins has got to be one of the most amazing guys in the world. I've watched him run tables at conventions and things like that. He is brilliant. He is incredibly approachable as well, which for someone in the position that he is not a given. 100% it's not. Um, and he's incredibly I guess nurturing. Like he really wants people to get into this, and he really wants people to kind of grow and learn. And that's something very rare. And every other interaction I've had with Wizards of the Coast employees are phenomenal. So I'm not saying anything bad about Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not even saying anything bad about the Adventure League aspects that Wizards of the Coast does. For those of you that aren't aware, Wizards of the Coast actually makes the rules for Adventure League. Like all those rules, those are actually decided by Wizards of the Coast. They're the ones that actually publish the adventures. They're the ones that control the certificates that you earn. That is all controlled by Wizards of the Coast. The D&D Adventurers League, the thing that I was a part of, is a completely separate entity that is run by volunteers, and it basically is just there to facilitate actual physical people going out and playing. They have no authority because Wizards of the Coast has the final say on everything. Um, they have no actual connections to Wizards of the Coast beyond the fact that quite a few of the admins and regional coordinators write some of the adventures and submit them to Wizards of the Coast for publishing. That is as far as the connection goes. Otherwise, they're a completely separate entity. And they're that way on purpose. There are legal issues with if the Adventurers League was actually a part of Wizards of the Coast due to labor laws and things like that. So, yeah, I'm not saying Dungeons and Dragons is bad. I still love Dungeons and Dragons. I'm still the organizer for my friendly local game store. I still run Dungeons and Dragons games. I still run Adventure League content. I am just very, very upset with the leadership, specifically the regional coordinators, because mine is not the only one that shows these issues, of the Adventure League itself. The rest of the people, like I've talked to the head of the Adventure League. He's a lovely gentleman. I have had interactions with a few of the administrators of the Adventure League. Those interactions have not been bad. And the local coordinators, some of my, one of my closest friends now is still a local coordinator with the Adventures League. And he's a brilliant, wonderful person. He's a phenomenal dungeon master. And he really cares about his players and the league in itself. I'm not saying any of these people are bad. I'm saying that what is happening now in the Adventure League in relation to its leadership, in specific its regional coordinators, is toxic, it's bad, and it's hurting the brand and it's hurting the players. And they fired me. So take this with a grain of salt. I've just been fired by them. So my opinions are going to be colored by that experience. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I'm really, really upset right now. And yeah. Anyway, take this information, use it however you would like. Ignore it. Uh, Whatever you want to do, that's absolutely fine. I am certainly not discouraging you from playing Adventure League games or anything like that. I'm just simply informing you that the situation around me being fired was 100% unethical, immoral, and just shouldn't have happened. And I am not alone in this. I'm not the first person to get fired over reasons like this. I wasn't even the first person to get fired last night, if that puts anything into perspective. Um, so yeah, if you guys see this video go down, it's probably because I finally came to my senses, realized how bad an idea this was, and removed it, and I'll probably replace it with something like me talking about fluffy kittens or something. But as of right now, I'm putting this up just because I'm that upset. I have not been this upset in a very long time. And you know what? I'm going to use the very little bit of influence that I have to do something that I think would be good, which is to let you guys know exactly what happens with this group, and hopefully give you guys a better understanding of how much work and effort goes into being a local coordinator, doing things like this, and how easy it is for people put into positions of authority that really shouldn't be to massively screw something up and damage a lot of people. Like, I am not that bad off, other than the fact that interacting with him specifically has caused me panic attacks and bouts of depression and stuff like that, which is actually dangerous to my health. Beyond that, I was not hurt as bad as a lot of other people can be because of just this poor management. So anyway, again, take it with a grain of salt. I just got fired. I'm going to have bad things to say about them because that's what happens when somebody does something wrong to you. You feel bad about it. I'm hoping that I'm doing this in as mature a manner as I can. Um, so yeah. Anyway, that's all for me today. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another daily December. Okay. Bye bye.